Hello my lovies, I'm back, and today's video I'm doing as a request, and this was a request from one of my Russian subscribers. Yesterday I was looking through the comments to see which video I was going to do today, because what I try to do is I just read through the comments and all your questions, and then whatever I feel like this is a good idea, this is something I can share with you guys, this is what I decide that I'm going to do. So today's video is actually going to be several questions within the comment, and I translated it from Russian as best as I could. And the main question will be awareness and attitude towards death. So how am I going to put this? I'm going to start reading the question, and then I am going to pretty much just answer it as I go, and then I'll read the rest of the question. So for all of you who just never been to my channel before and you just started watching my videos, my name is Tatiana, and what I'm doing right now is I'm doing this psychology videos, which is my own psychology through talking, and all I'm doing is sharing my perspective and my experience. It does not mean that I know everything about life or I'm super wise about things, but what I'm doing is just sharing, and each person can share and help each other through this thing called life. So I'm gonna get straight to the question. Tatiana, greetings. I've been watching you for a long time. I'm very glad you came back. You are very deep. You really carry a lot of information, important information, and you carry the idea well. You are charming and have an open mind. I rarely comment, but your last video opened up a desire in me to ask you a question or request. You mentioned in the last video, live consciously. Not so long ago, for me, it began with the help of Eckhart Tolle. One thing that I would like to tell you guys, if you're looking to listen to some really good, interesting, spiritual, open-minded information, definitely check out Eckhart Tolle. You said people will, okay, so to help of Eckhart Tolle, whom I'm listening about mindfulness, let me ask you, who or with what help you came to this? So first things I'd like to tell you is that all the things that I know about spirituality, about life, about things is only through my personal experience. I cannot tell you that this specific person or that specific person or this specific video or this specific book helped me in my journey. I have to say that through the collection of everything in my life, starting through my childhood, through very different experiences that I had through my life, this is how I came to this spiritual awareness and mindfulness, as you call it. As I mentioned to you guys before, in my early 20s, actually before my early 20s, I was living a very destructive lifestyle. I never planned to live past 30. I just thought that it wasn't for me. I hated living. I hated my life. I was depressed. I was extremely introverted. I hated being in public. I just hated life. I just was very destructive with myself, and I hated things about my childhood. I felt like it was taken away from me. And I mean, now I understand it a little bit differently. Back then, that's how I felt. I don't feel like that right now. But back then, I felt my childhood was taken away from me. I never got a chance to be a kid. I was psychologically damaged. I was abused physically and psychologically. So I was living in like a little nutshell. And there came a time that I was sick of it. I was so sick of taking pills, being depressed, living a destructive lifestyle, that I said, okay, no one can help me. And I realized no psychiatrist can help me, no friends can help me, nobody can help me. And you know, there were days in my life that I spent in a closet, scratching myself, having panic attacks. Yeah, this is the things that I never really told you guys before. But this is how bad it was. I'm not saying that I'm a victim, because there's people who have it a lot worse than me. But still, this is through my experience. I had to pull myself out of the gutter, literally pull myself out. And I just like, one day I was like, okay, I'm either gonna live or I'm gonna die. So what's it gonna be? And I thought, okay, I think maybe I'll give it another shot. And I just kind of quit all the pills. I quit everything. I just decided to completely clean out my life inside out. So this is how I started. I started becoming more aware by looking around. what the hell was been happening in my life. I was asleep for a really long time. This is how I came to little by little, little by little, little by little, and this is how I'm here. Experiences. So now, she says, and yet you said people will come and they will go. You mean die. So tell me how to accept this, reconcile with this. How do I understand it? What is life, and what is life and death as part of it? Recently, I lost my dad, and this topic has deeply affected me, and I'm looking for answers. How do I reconcile myself that people are leaving? How do I live with motivation not to think that everything will eventually end? Forgive a lot of letters, but you feel very wise and knowledgeable, and maybe your knowledge will help me. I will be very grateful if you mention these two topics in your videos, awareness and attitude towards death. Thank you for your attention. So, and right now, I would like to share with you guys a very personal story with me, that just happened to me recently. Of course, I'm not by any means comparing what happened to me by what happened to a girl that asked me this question. All I'm doing is sharing this experience. Many experiences have happened to me, but this specific experience was very fresh and very recent. And I thought that if I share this story, that it will help for other people to understand about life and death as being one, and about how we continue in a different form. I cannot prove this to someone, especially to a person, let's say, who is watching my video right now, never even been experiencing, and say, this lady is crazy, what the hell is she talking about? What? Life after death? Like, are you stupid? You know how people can sometimes think. But I'm just going to share with you, this is the knowledge that I've always had since I was a kid, that life continues. I've always experienced very weird to other people things, and I've always known this, but not everyone just has this awareness and knowledge. I know this. People may believe it or they hope for it, but they don't know it. I've always known this, but I cannot show you. So I'm going to share my experience of recent that happened to me. As many of you guys know, I used to have two dogs. One was Louis, a little Chihuahua, and the other one is his daughter. She's 9 years old. Louis was 13 and a half years old. He's been with me since I was 21 years old. He's been with me for 13 and a half years. And Louis has been with me through everything. He's been with me through my hell, through my crazy ways, through everything. He's been with me when my husband first got married. He's been with me since Reno, Nevada, since we moved here, since I went through this crazy psychotic breakdowns. He's been with me through everything. And about December, he just got sick. He got very, very, very sick. And I took him to the vet. The vet told me he has 2 days to live. So it was pretty shocking, pretty fast. And I was like, okay, he's like, you better put him to sleep, because, I mean, this is what I suggest. He's not really responding to any like medication that we're giving him. He's pretty much gonna go, like, in a couple of days. So my husband is like, yeah, definitely putting asleep is not gonna be something we're gonna do. And I told him, no, I'm not going to do this. I want him to go through his experience. I want him to I owe him this. So I'm not going to put him to sleep. I asked the doctor if he's in pain. The doctor said, no, he's not in pain. So I said, okay, I'm gonna let him go through this experience. And of course I was just devastated. I was still not really sure of, you know, what to expect. So my husband, he's like, okay, we took him from the vet, and my husband said, I'm gonna take him to Tampa to see his parents, because he's got a big family, everyone is very close. He's like, I want them to say goodbye to him. I said, okay. So he took him to Tampa. It's about an hour and a half drive from here. He spent the day there. He came back, and I said, you know what? I'm not gonna give up. I said, I'm gonna try to do everything I can to heal him, to just give him as much love, because I know love can do incredible things. So what I started doing, I got a natural B12 vitamin, this like organic spray vitamin. Every day I was playing like this music, healing music for him with these brain waves. Like, you know, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about with these brain waves. So, you know, within 2 weeks he got better and better and better and better, and I was taking care of him and just putting this music for him and giving him his vitamins and spoiling him and just spending time with him. He completely recovered. He fully recovered. He was running around, he was being himself again. And I was just so happy. And about 3 months later, all of a sudden I felt like he's just, you know, one day he just got really sick again. And I was like, okay, maybe he'll get better again. And I wanted to change the subject first before I get back to this one. 3 years ago, I had a car accident. I pretty much thought within this car accident that my life is gonna end right there and then, as I was inside that car. 2 weeks before that car accident, I started seeing numbers, the same numbers over and over and over again. 31, 13, 33. A few years before that, I started seeing everywhere numbers 11, 11, 1, 11, 10, 10, pretty much 1s and 11s. And then a few years later, it was 31, 33, 13, over and over and over. So this number, 31 and 13, has been with me for a really long time. So getting back to the story again of Louis. Louis started breathing really weirdly, just slowly, and just my husband said tonight probably is going to be his last night. So he spent the night holding him, but Louis didn't leave that night. The next day, my husband was at work and he always comes home late. Louis was laying here, and then my husband gets home around 1 o'clock in the morning. And it was March 3rd, it was March 10th, so 3/10, so 31 if you shorten it up. And if you add the date, March 10th, 2017, you add up to a number 13. Very just seems like a coincidence, but I'll tell you what happens next. So I'm like, again, this number, 3 and 1, 3, 1, again, these numbers. He ends up, this is what happens. My husband gets home at 1 o'clock in the morning. We sit down between him. He was still alive. And we're discussing. My husband is like, I think it's time to put him to sleep. And I said, I can't do this to him. I want him to fully go through his experience. My husband is like, maybe he's in pain. And I'm like, he's not in pain, because I'm really good with reading body language and expressions, and expression of facial expressions. Facial expressions look very similar, exactly the same on animals and humans. I said, he's not in pain. I think he's feeling in peace. So we're sitting here discussing. 1:11 hits, 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:11. He passes at that time. And I open this little blanket, and that's the time he stops breathing. And I look at my husband and I'm like, he passed. And my husband is like, he's like, yeah. That moment I was like, I don't know, I just kind of, just looking at his body, like how lively he was, how crazy and screaming he was all the time, and barking and full of life, and then looking at his lifeless body laying there in front of me, I was like, I thought, as wise as I am, as I understand death so well, I was shocked. I couldn't believe how just a few minutes ago I saw him breathing. So my husband, we wrapped him in this beautiful little towel, and my husband took him immediately. He drove to Tampa. An hour and a half, that's where his parents live. We wanted to bury him at a family house, and they were already waiting for him there with like a little box, and his aunts were there. They were burying him like a family member. So my husband went, and I said, I can't even go, because I cannot watch how my little baby's little lifeless body is going to be buried in the ground. I even as understanding of things as I am, I just couldn't see it. I was shocked, I was depressed, I was devastated, I couldn't believe it. I will never see him again. So I was trying very hard to contact him because I know that there is another realm, you know. Don't ask me how I know this, I just know this. And I know also that usually it takes about 2 weeks to cross to that other realm. So I was like so persistent. I wanted to contact him because I wanted to make myself feel better. That's why. Because when we are thinking through our ego, when we are activating ego wants survival. Ego feels bad. Ego feels pain. And I felt pain, and I wanted to contact him because I felt pain. Within 3 days, he actually came to me. He came to me in my dream, and he let me know he was okay, and I communicated with him telepathically. Within the dream, I knew he passed, but he was talking to me. So I kind of felt a little bit better. But I also knew that it usually takes fully 2 weeks to cross. So this is next thing that happens is this. You can call this a coincidence or whatever you want. Exactly 2 weeks after his death, a friend of mine that lives in Vegas, she's like an acquaintance of mine. We used to be very close when we used to live in Reno, Nevada, but we just kind of fell apart. But all of a sudden she sends me a text message. I opened up this text message, and here's another funny thing. Before Louis passed, I remember telling my husband, I'm like, you know what, I wish we could have taken more pictures of him and more things. And I said, remember his little boots? He used to have these little leopard boots that he used to love wearing or whatever. Maybe he didn't like it, I don't know. I just put it on him. And I said, I wish I at least had one picture of him in these little boots. And my husband was like, yeah, you know, those were cute little boots. So I get back to the story of my friend sending me the text message. I open up this text message 2 weeks exactly on the dot. Guess what I see in that text message? A picture of me holding him with his little boots. And I fell into shock because I never told her Louis passed. I never told anybody. Nobody knew Louis passed. So I sent her a text message and I said, look, I said, my Louis, my baby, he passed 2 weeks ago. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I was just looking through the old pictures. He's like, I remember taking this picture and I'm sorry. Like, I just felt like I wanted to send it to you. And I'm like, you know what? Don't apologize. You have no idea what this means to me right now. This is a sign for me. He's okay. And my husband's like, you never told her? I'm like, no, we don't even talk. You know, we talk once a month about silly stuff. I'm like, I don't tell her about my pets or things like that. So she's like, oh, I'm sorry, you know. And I was like, this is him. 2 weeks after his death, he's communicating with me. He's telling me he's okay. And I felt tears and I felt relief and I was like, okay. So a month, you know, into it, a month after he passed, about a couple days ago, it was something very interesting happens again. I opened my front door. I don't know why I wanted to open my front door. I just kind of came up to the door and I opened the door and I saw this little tiny puppy standing in front of my door. And he's a cute little white puppy. And I'm like, oh, what a cute little puppy. And he starts looking inside and he tries to get inside. And then I hear Louis. And then I'm like, what? And then I see his owner coming, this girl coming. She's like, Louis, come here. And I'm like, what's his name? She's like, his name is Louis. That's the name of my baby. And then I was like, oh my God. And I was like, wow, what are the odds? I've never seen this lady before. I'm like, what are the odds, you know? So this is how I know. This is how I know that my baby, because I want him and I asked for his communication, is communicating with me. This is not the only experience I've had. This is just the only experience I wanted to share with you guys. But now, how can you know? How can you feel? You know, you cannot, you know, just be okay with death. We cannot be okay with death if we are living through our ego. Because ego wants to survive. Ego feels pain because ego feels loss. But if we are living, at least try to live through the stream that we call God. If we breathe really deeply and just get our mind into the zone, and we start living through our soul instead of through our ego, at least try from moment to moment, we will know that there is no separation between life and death. Now, if you take the symbol of yin and yang, the white and the dark, within this white part of the yin and yang, there's a little dark circle. That means within every light, there's some darkness. And if you look at the dark side of yin and yang, you'll know that there's a white circle. That means within every darkness, there's some light. Yin and yang is a circle of life. One goes into the other. There is no death. We are looking, because our world is created through our ego. We're creating our reality by living through our ego, because ego serves us as an instrument to evolve. But like I said, if you live through your soul, if you try as much as you can to live through your inner intuition, through your soul, if you breathe deeply, if you're aware of things, if you appreciate every moment and you're living moment to moment instead of living in the future or living knowing that it will all end because it will, or living in the past knowing that people passed, you will know in your heart that there is no separation. That's how you know. You don't deal with it, you don't accept it, you just understand it. And that's how we come to this, you know, to understand the yin and yang. Another thing that I wanted to tell you is fighting pain. There's no need. You have to feel the pain. When people leave your life, it's okay to feel pain. There's no need to fight it or resist it, because more resistance creates more resistance. You just have to let yourself sit in this pain and let yourself feel this pain. Let yourself be in the middle. Don't try to distract yourself. Don't try to get away from it. Feel this pain and understand that it will naturally go away once you allow it to move through your body, because energy constantly moves to the improvement, constantly moves naturally to be into the next phase of improvement. So this is how you do. You deal with your pain. You understand it's okay to be in pain. It's okay, and we will lose them, and it's okay, but there's no need to think about it now. We will go someday. As long as you're just aware and make sure that you appreciate people in your life and things in your life. You know, even with my Louis, I was like, I began to appreciate him a lot more after he passed than before. You know, I try to give him attention and I try to give him love, but I wasn't always very good at it, you know. And now that he's gone and I look at his picture and I'm like my baby, you know, my baby. And he's not here now, so all I can do is just breathe and feel, know that he's somewhere there waiting for me and being a part of me. And you know what, they even say that people, souls, are closer to us once they leave this realm than when they're here, because here we're all feeling the separation, but when they leave, they're more closer, they're becoming more with us than normal, than what we feel. So live through your soul, breathe deeply, and allow your pain to move naturally through you. So this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I hope to someone if this video was useful. This probably got to be really long, but it's a subject that you cannot just cut out in a couple of minutes and just, you know, because I really wanted to share this this with you guys. So I hope this video was very useful to you, and just send me whatever questions you have if you want me to keep going. Another thing that I want to tell you, I will still do fitness videos from time to time. You know, whenever I feel the motivation, I'll share with you fitness advice, and nutrition advice is still part of my life, huge part of my life. This is just for now that I'm just feeling like I need to share pieces of my soul just a little bit and get more in touch with my audience and feel you guys on a more deeper level. So I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be waiting for your questions and comments. Bye, my lovies.